Hi and welcome to another episode of Business Today TV.
Show number 21.
Last week, Andrew talked about collaborations, Anne-Marie talked about insightful thinking, and Helia stepping outside your comfort zone. This week, Andrew talks about who you associate with. Helia talks about what you say to yourself. Anne-Marie, not enough minutes in the day, and we visit the Perth Hills.
Well, welcome to another great episode. Geez, we've got some great guests coming up on today's show, Gerard.
Again, a lot of information you can take and implement in your business immediately.
And we've got a bit of a special. We do our business special, but today we thought we'd do something a little bit differently. We talked to Colleen Yates from RDA, and she's been out into the Perth Hills. And we thought, well, since COVID has locked everyone down and we can't go overseas and
Support local.
Yeah, support local. We thought we'd include this a bit of a video when she goes into Lake Lesinoltia. So stay tuned for that. It's a great holiday spot and some fantastic information coming from Colleen later on. But we have one of our regulars starting off the show, Gerard.
Oh, Andrew Ford is such a good source of information. And I really love listening to him because every time when he leaves the studio, we sit and say, maybe we should implement that as well. Because most of the stuff we know, but we forget.
Yeah, I think they kind of remind you, don't you? Yeah. You start saying, okay, I mean, I was once taught, and I'm sure everyone out there has heard, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah. Show me the average earnings of the people you're hanging around with and I'll show you your average earnings of what you can expect. And Andrew is talking something along those lines today.
I think you're really going to enjoy this segment.
Who you associate with. Well, we're back with Andrew Ford and doing air conditioning. 35 years in business, so obviously got things to say. What I find, Andrew, is interesting is the people you associate yourself with, not just your family and your friends, but business people and the way you align yourself in different groups and especially different associations. I'm wondering what advice you can give for business owners along those lines. Do you have any golden rules, or is it,
Definitely. And that was one of the things we did very early in the business because we were so young, myself and Kyle Doonan. I was only 19 when we started, he was 20. So we didn't
know. I believe
you
grew a beard. So
I did grow a beard, look a bit older, so it give us some credibility. But actually it was my father-in-law that introduced us to a business group which is called the Enterprise Club, which is now, I think, no longer around. But he knew I lacked the maturity and the public speaking skills and the confidence because I was such a young person. And he almost dragged me along to the first meeting. I was a fish out of water. But that first, I think about 2 years we spent in there, both Kyle and myself, it was just invaluable, the lessons that we learned just about dealing with people and hearing other people's challenges. So even if you think that you're not ready to go to one of those type of groups, it's probably more the reason you should be going to them. Later on in my business journey, I joined the Entrepreneurs Organisation, or EO, which is a global group of entrepreneurs, and that it was just golden, the amount I learnt from there, and to be able to share with like-minded people some of the challenges that we face in business, because it is a lonely place in business. Often you can't talk to your staff about certain matters, even your spouse, you can't necessarily bring them, because they just don't get it,
No.
And it'll fall on deaf ears and you don't get the response. So it can be a very lonely place being a business owner / entrepreneur. So these associations are just a place to be able to talk about challenges in a confidential environment, I should say. And the people who have shared the same things can just give you one little tip to help you get through it.
One thing I'm picking up just from listening to you went along not to get business, but you get education.
Yes.
And one of the education spots, and I think it's really important, especially this day and age when podcasts and videos are the way people promote their business, but you went to learn how to actually speak as well. Was that because they get you up and you got to do business presentations?
Yeah, they do. And every meeting you got to get up and say something, and you're shaking and nervous at the start as a young 21 or something by the time we got there. But just gave me so many more skills. So don't always think about what you're going to get out of it in the way of business, but what you can get out of it in your personal growth. and don't try to quantify, oh, I didn't get any leads this month, I'm dropping out of that group. But what else did you get? Think a bit deeper.
You know, people, I suppose, watch the videos and they go, well, Andrew's such a confident speaker. But was it because you were forced to speak at these groups, or did you do anything else to learn speaking? How have you managed to mature that?
Yeah, good question. I haven't done any formal training. I know my business partner Kyle, he went to Toastmasters.
Oh, yes.
That was part of his journey. I never went to that. And I think, you know, largely you just learn as you go along. But these groups certainly, because they do, as you said earlier, force you to get up and say what you have to say, and you quickly learn. And some of them, I remember one time I was speaking, I was talking about price and how we're losing too many jobs, and it was a real sad story, you know. And everyone I was just dragging the whole meeting down. This one other member just stood up or sat up and said afterwards, he said, that's the most negative thing I've ever heard, and you're never going to get anywhere with that attitude. And it was like a slap in the face, but exactly what I needed. Wow. From then on, I just reflected on myself, thought, no wonder, yes, he's right. So it hurt at the time. Yeah. I slunk out of that particular meeting with the tail between my legs, but I reflected on it, and it made me a better person for that slap in the face.
Wow. So what we've got is, if you're in business, make sure you're members of a group that you get with, but not a group, you don't go there for business. You probably will get business, but you're going there mainly to people who can be honest like that with you, may make you uncomfortable, and I've been there myself. Well, I kind of go, really? But I think it's the people who can bridge those gaps, who help people when they slap with it, and they're man enough to, or woman enough to bridge that gap. They get to the other side, and all of a sudden their business grows.
Yes. It's about getting out of that comfort zone again, isn't it? Like, no one likes to be told we're not good at something, or you could have done better at this. And so we tend to protect ourselves from that negative criticism. But in business, I think sometimes you need to hear it to be able to evolve, like you said, Michael. So get out of that comfort zone and expand yourself and take a few knocks, and you'll come out stronger at the end of it.
Beautiful. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, so who you associate with, how important was that information?
I think you should ask you the question now, who am I going to associate today that will help me to get to my goal?
Absolutely, some great point. And I think that's the great thing, because when you hear from people like Andrew Ford, who are self-made millionaires, and our next guest is coming up, these are people who actually walked the path. They've learnt the journey, and probably sometimes they think they'd wish they'd learnt it earlier. How many times have you thought that, Gerard?
All the time. And that's what I love about the show, is because there's something that you can implement, that you don't make the same mistake.
Exactly. One of the things I think we do, we get trapped as business owners, we can have self-doubt, or we start questioning things. And Helly is talking this week about one of her success strategies, and she talks about what we actually say to ourselves.
It's so important. If you wake up negative in the morning, that is going to be your trend for the day. So what you say to yourself in the morning and how you motivate yourself is so important, not only for the day, but also for your success.
So here she is, Miss Hellier Singh.
Well, we're back with Hellier Singh. How are you, Helly?
I'm great, thank you, Michael.
I love having these chats with you, and I love watching your YouTube channel and listening to all the information you give there. What I like is the practical things that you say to people. And we talked about luck factor over the last few weeks, and you made a comment in your video that you can listen to other people and that affects you, but it's really what you say to yourself that's doing the damage or the good.
Yeah, exactly. You see, Michael, we listen to people, of course. There's so much noise outside. And not only people, we listen to, especially these days, social media. And what all these marketing companies want us to believe, especially me as a woman, that's, okay, what size is supposed to be a right size in terms of body size, or what makeup, what color. All of these, we're just telling, being told and fed daily on what is supposed to be, then will be acceptable. And this is why we constantly, without knowing, compare ourselves to what we've been fed in our brain, that they say, well, okay, if I'm not like this, that means I'm not good enough. And that feeling, so that means that, okay, if not everybody's got the ability to manage and cut the noise and say enough is enough, I'm just gonna be who I am. But what some people do, which unfortunately most of the people do, is then they'll go back and then start going through their life, and they're just telling themselves that, okay, of course, you are never good enough, you're always like this, you can never measure to anything. And they kept telling themselves those nasty things. And that's why they say for every negative things we tell ourselves, we need to hear at least 20 times positive comment from outside to get that negative self-comment. And that's why it's so important what we tell ourselves.
It's interesting you're saying there, listening to you, that the things people tell you you have to be like, this is what your expectation, this is how everyone, to be acceptable, this is what it's going to be. And it made me reflect back on one of your conversations when you were saying, as a little girl, and I'm sure as little boys grow up, we've got our heroes. And you gave 6 strategies at the end of one of your talks there to become more lucky. And you said it's not hoping the hero is going to come into life. You said it's become your own hero.
That's right. Well, after many years sitting there waiting for a hero to come and save me, and that didn't happen. So I thought, well, I'm sure there must be a good reason for that. And that's the only thing I could come up with, was that maybe I'm the hero. And that mentality and that attitude that helped me, that not only I saved myself, but I'm so glad and happy that I managed to help many other people as well. And that's why, probably because of this attitude, I could become a winner and get the Community Champions Award, because of that attitude, that I wanted to be the hero that helping others.
Well, there we go, Miss Helia, seeing what you say to yourself. I think that self-talk is so important, Gerard.
I do something in the morning, and some people don't agree with it, but to say what I'm grateful for. And it's not that I don't want more, but I'm grateful for a lot of things in the morning. And because I volunteer as well on the ambulances, after a shift of 12 hours and you get home, then you are so grateful for small little things that you don't even think was possible to be grateful for. And I think that's important with that self-talk as well.
I think it's really important. So self-talk is really important. Now, one of the great things about talking to self-made millionaires is finding their attitude. I always think your attitude determines your altitude, it determines your success. And your 60-second question really taps in. They're not pre-thought out. You don't give them any warnings on this, Gerard.
No.
So our 60-second question this week, what did you hit them with?
So what is the one thing that you have to do every day, your non-negotiable?
Definitely the gratitude journal. I just found it so inspiring and helping me to cope with life and just continue doing the best I could. And it is amazing, trying to find something new to be grateful is just bring you from that victim mentality away, and you just find something and you'll be happy.
So the one thing that I have to do every day, my one non-negotiable, would have to be meditation. I meditate every morning and sometimes in the afternoons as well. It's a journey. I'm not getting it 100% right, but during that meditation, I really feel that I set myself up for a win for the rest of the day.
It would have to be going to the gym, so I train 7 days a week.
Wow, you're non-negotiable. I just love it. I mean, you only give them 60 seconds. There's no pre-warning. You just answer the question. And I think that's when you hear truths. Not saying people mislead you, but when they can prepare an answer, I think you lose some of the inner truths.
But I also think you're very authentic, because you don't have to think about it and what people want to hear. You say from the heart.
You really do, don't you? And it doesn't matter whether the answer is long or short. You only give them 60 seconds. And I think you do that to put them in that bit of a pressure point.
Because people, normally we think a minute is very short, but a minute is very long. And you can have a message that you translate in 1 minute.
One thing I have found, and Andrew particularly is very good. Andrew can get them out in like 10, 15 seconds at the most. He knows right off the top of his head, and he's very, very concise. I think this is good practice for business owners, that if someone says, what do you do? Could you say it in 10 or 15 seconds? I think that's a skill that I keep hearing Andrew be able to articulate really, really well. You ask him a question, he can give you a very concise answer very, very quickly.
But that also, there's no nonsense in between.
No.
You ask me a question, I answer you. And I think one of our guest speakers that I think next week or the week after is John Hughes.
Yes.
He's to the point.
Oh, yes.
and that's one thing I think I've learned is just get to the point. How many times did you watch some YouTube videos that you want something and the guys are going on and on and on? We had one last week, we listened 17 minutes
And they said nothing.
and then didn't say anything that we actually switched it off.
Yeah, we actually just left them.
Get to the point.
Get to the point. And I think that's a good point. But it's a nice segue into you don't have enough minutes in the day.
Yep.
Most of us don't have enough minutes in the day because other people are wasting our minutes, or we're actually wasting ourselves by not being concise. And we crossed to Anne-Marie in South Africa for this one.
Again, we try to bring different opinions all over the world. And sometimes there's some technical issues.
Yes.
Especially going to South Africa and they got load shedding. And, but at least there's a message for you today.
One challenge that shows up without fail in a coaching conversation is that of, please help me manage my time better. I do not have enough minutes in the day to get to everything that I need to do. If one looks at neuroscience, I believe that it's not really an issue of the management of time because we all have the same amount of seconds in a day. And we can't manage it, we can't control it, we can't have more of it. What we can do, looking at neuroscience, we can manage our thinking. So a few good techniques in how to deal with this is, for example, prioritize your energy-hungry tasks first. Very often, what I see people do is early morning, what do? You open up your laptop, you switch it on, and you look at your emails. And what happens? You see a LinkedIn invitation, you see Facebook, this one and this one's birthday, and there's a WhatsApp coming up, or you look at last night's WhatsApps that came through. There's constantly all these distractions. By the time that 2 hours went by, you have not spent your neural thinking on something that would really make a difference. You've spent it on something, you've wasted your neural energy, in essence. You haven't invested your neural energy in thinking that would make a difference, such as strategic thinking, or such as making a good decision with regards to what consultant I'm going to appoint. We've wasted our time on social media and on emails because we get distracted. What is also a good technique is that we can block off certain times, but then we need to keep to it. And we really have to be extremely disciplined in what actors we do allow on, and be very aware that you don't allow other actors to creep on, because they do that. And we often just allow everyone on. So if you do block off times, for example, that you have a staff meeting first thing in the morning and not 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for example, that would be a good way of applying your neural energy to energy-hungry tasks first. And then after that, you can look at your emails. And you can also then check in with your emails later this afternoon and maybe in the evening when you are already tired. But there are just some tasks that needs more critical thinking than others. Another technique that you can keep in mind is to visualize. Our visual cortex is much older than our prefrontal cortex. So it's been around for much longer. Outsource some of your thinking to your visual cortex as well. So bring that in and, for example, do a brain dump on a whiteboard in your office and write down everything that's on your mind. Maybe you don't want to do it in public, so do it in a journal, but write down everything that's there so that you can tell your brain, okay, I know it's there, but I'm putting it in the first row, but not on my stage. I want to put it in my first row so that I ensure that I do not forget about it, but I will not allow it onto my stage, where it just crowds my stage. And the last thing that I want to mention is your biorhythms. Dan Pink has got an amazing book. It's called When, and which is all about biorhythms. And I believe that if we do understand our biorhythms better, that's connected to your energy, and that's connected to your thinking and the quality of thinking as well. So if we understand ourselves better, and when our biorhythms, when we are more optimal, we will be able to make decisions that's aligned with our own biorhythms. Got a CEO that just will not accept a meeting invite for the afternoon. She only takes meetings in the mornings, but never in the afternoon, because she just says, I'm not my best in the afternoons. Every afternoon after 1, she just literally blocks out for meetings. And it works for her. So again, it's not about the management of time. It's about the management of your own thinking, your own neural energy. And as soon as you are in control of the actors on your stage, you will have more clarity, and you will be more focused, and your results will definitely be better.
Wow. Anne-Marie really does get on the point. Some great solutions there, some great ideas for getting more time. You can't get more time, but how do you use your time better?
Well, we all said, that Richard Branson, all these people, they've got the same 24 hours in a day than we have.
Yes.
It's just how we decide how we spend it and who we spend it with.
Yeah, and how concise you can be when you and training people to be more concise with you, and you being more concise back. We're going to take a little bit. We normally do a feature business, and we've been promoting Perth businesses, and we thought, well, the holiday destinations and have all been cut. We've got the borders, and our good friend Colin Yates from RDA Perth, just before COVID, was out exploring the Perth Hills around here in West Australia. And I'm sure every state has got this. So wherever you are, then, and I'm sure whichever country you're watching us in, you've got this as well. But she takes us to Lake Legenaltia today and shows us a great destination for you and the family, and you can actually holiday up there as well.
Well, the person she interviews is an environmental scientist. Very interesting.
He is very interesting, and he's lived in Mundaring Shire all his life, and he is one smart cookie. But when we say environmental scientist, do not expect a white coat.
No.
Here she is, Colin Yates, adventuring into the Perth Hills and Lake Legenaltia.
Here today with Simon Cherryman. He's an environmental scientist and a local expert on eagles. Hello, Simon. How are you?
Hello, Colleen. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm 6'8". I don't play basketball. I am a bird lover, so I grew up in the Perth Hills, not far from here, about 20 minutes down the road. We used to come to Lake Legenaltia as a family. We didn't have a pool, so we used to like going swimming in the hot weather. We'd come up here for barbecues. And I had an amazing childhood of growing up wandering around the bush. I was always encouraged to pursue an interest in the environment by my parents. And yeah, birds are the sort of group of animals that you tend to encounter regularly. So I like climbing trees and learning about ornithology and really just being absorbed in this beautiful part of the landscape.
Fantastic. So you're a real local.
I'm a real local, that's right. They say how long do you need to be to live here to be a local, but no, I think I'm considered local.
Fantastic. So what's so special about Lake Legenaltia here?
It's just got an amazing vibe to it. I think when you first come here and you look across this part of the landscape, even without the lake being here, it's just got a magic tranquility about this valley. The lake was actually made as a water source for the steam trains when rail was the main source of transport in this area.
So they had steam trains?
Yes, that's right. So there were steam trains, and this lake was made then for a water source. But well before Western occupation, Noongar people would have come to this valley. It's a bit of a confluence of two little waterways that meet in the middle before the dam was made. So this would have been a really important site for gathering food, and if there was water remaining through the drier months, it would have been a bit of an oasis here. So it has a very special vibe. Naturally, we came as a picnic and swimming area as a family, but I love the diversity of bird life here. I love the way that you can still see families now enjoying the beaches and kids having swims, and really that engagement with nature which is so important. And so many families that live up this way, that's why they're living in the hills. This is the perfect outdoor environment to nurture those interests.
So when we were walking around the lake, there was that very unusual looking bird that had kind of, sort of webbed feet.
Funny
what was that?
So that's a coot, a Eurasian coot, and they're a very common bird here. They like the open water and they dive down for aquatic plants that grow from the bottom, and they have very funny webs on their feet. So instead of their toes being completely webbed, they've got sort of discs of webbing which can fold up when they walk on land, but then they spread out when they're swimming in the water.
Wow.
So it's a very good, very useful adaptation for being aquatic and being able to walk on land as well.
Fantastic. Simon, it looks like we have a couple of visitors here. Obviously, our conversation is very interesting.
Word spreads fast.
Is that bird that you were talking about with the unusually webbed feet?
Absolutely. So this is a Eurasian coot here, and the distinctive thing about them, if you don't see their feet, is this white frontal shield. And the other bird with it is a Pacific black duck, or yet in Noongar. They're a very common duck species. Any waterways throughout Australia, really, you can see them. And so, they've obviously been listening in. They must have heard about the Mundaring Visitor Centre and they're queuing up to find out. I should mention as well, I don't know whether I can just say that now, that Leschenoltia, the name, is derived from a local species of plant which grows in the forest here, and it's a beautiful blue sort of weeping flower from about September to December. And so, that's the Western name of the genus Leschenoltia.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they called it Lake Leschenoltia.
Beautiful.
It's a bit of a tongue twister, but locally we call it Lake Lesch, just for short.
Lake Lesch.
Not Lesch-O, which is actually a bit cringe-worthy in Australia. There's so many things get O's added to the end, but Lake Lesch, so it's nice.
And so you're saying a lot of families come up here.
Yes.
It looks really quiet now, but so what is it like in the summer months?
In the summer months, it's bustling. I think some of the long weekend holidays that are coming up over summer, particularly Christmas and New Year's, there are campsites which you can book through the Shire of Mundaring and spend many nights camping up here as well. So it's alive with people. Sound travels very quickly across the water. So if we were sitting here on a weekend day or on a holiday, the whole beach is usually full of people, kids playing in the water. You can just hear everyone having a good time, and that's fantastic to see.
That was a great interview. Colleen did a great job there. And you know what, when we filmed that, as you can see, she's sitting on the water bank, and the water was lapping in behind them at one stage. But the good sports kept up. Look, we've got part 2 of that, and where they start talking about the eagles that are up there that are nesting, from the big wedge-tailed eagles to the peregrine falcons up there. That's going to be real, and we thought we'd share that with them next week as part 2, supporting a local, especially during what's going on at the moment. Now, a lot of people have been watching the show and saying you seem to be getting a lot of views.
Well, just to give you a bit of idea, show 20 had over 20,000 views on the different platforms.
Yes.
Which I just think is amazing in such a short period of time to get that views.
Yeah, and we've done a couple of YouTube stuff. So the YouTube at One of Our Media Group has gone over 15,000 subscribers. One of our top videos had 70,000. Now worldwide these might be small numbers, but for Perth, little old us here, and we're getting a lot of people ask us now, how do you produce videos? Because a lot of video production companies say, well, we can produce the video. You can produce any video you want, but do you get a video that's going to be watched? I always say, Gerard, you can make the video that's going to make mum proud, or you can make the video that's going to get you customers. And a lot of people have been saying, it's quite expensive making videos.
It's expensive, and a lot of people try to do it themselves. And if you don't have that bit of a background, I think you don't do your business a favor in presenting your business in such a way.
No. So we formed our business club. Now, it is the Millionaire Business Club, because we just want, and the reason we've called it that, we want serious business owners. So if you just want to have a job and just tickle along, absolutely brilliant. You just go and do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Anyone tells you there is, get them out of your life. You do what you want. But our club is for those people who want to grow, because we want like-minded people associating together. But in our club, in our business club, it's going to focus on how you take all the business knowledge, you take the marketing, you take the sales, you take the strategies, and you combine them all together, and how you can incorporate these into video to attract more people into your business, so you actually make the money and you get the lifestyle and the financial freedom you want.
Exactly, and a lot of people can make beautiful videos, but if you don't have the message right, people will not watch it. And what we say is that you need to have that complete package. You need to know what the business is all about. What is your message? Are you in retail? Are you a consultant? What type of business? Do your video around that, and then present it on the different social platforms.
And you've raised some really good points there, because if I'm a retailer, and look, we're a professional production company, we really specialize in social media production. By the way, I want to correct this. Some people are out there going, we do broadcast quality. Well, I don't know why you're chucking the word quality in there, because there's no such thing as broadcast quality. I mean, I'm sure you've all watched TV and gone, that's been rubbish. Quality is a qualitative term. It's non-measurable. No, they're broadcast specific. So if someone says, I'm going to make a broadcast quality, what are they really saying? I don't understand, because we make TV commercials and cinema commercials, for CinemaScope. There are actual presets. So basically, if you said TV, then we know that, at the beginning of the soundtrack has got to be, at the beginning of the video, has got to be half a minute, half a second of silence, and at the end is half a second of silence, and the audio is recorded at 48 megahertz. Musos will be going, why that? Yeah, exactly, Musos recording different megahertz, but that's just a standard. That is just a standard, 15 to 30-second ads or a show. You need half a second of silence and half a second. That's not quality. That is just standards. In Perth, we're broadcasting now in standard definition or high definition. You get to choose, and then you actually tell the platforms when they distribute it, the distributors to a TV station or absolutely nothing to do with social media whatsoever. If you're doing cinemas, obviously it's going to be in CinemaScope. We're doing different lenses on that as well. Absolutely nothing to do with social media, and got no relevance whatsoever. Social media, first thing, do not use a teleprompter. I'll tell you, if someone says, I've got a teleprompter and I'll make you a YouTube video, I'll make you a social media video, or what, I'd laugh. And they don't know what they're doing. That's great for TV. Absolutely not. Reading the news, I've got to be able to read. Not for social media.
You have to be authentic. And
Yes.
people can immediately see. How many times did you go to a networking event where the person stands up to introduce himself and he reads off the screen?
Yeah.
Immediately, I lose interest.
Yeah.
But if you're authentic and speak from the heart, people listen.
I'll tell you one thing that making videos will do for you is being able to actually stand up and speak from the heart without any teleprompters, without any fonts. So the club is going to actually teach you all the presentation skills. But you said before about what I do. So if you're making a video for a retailer, I don't even have to tell you this. You'd already know this automatically. A video for a retailer is going to be different than a video for, say, a law firm or a consulting company. It's going to be different than someone who's trying to build relationships with you, or someone who's doing one-off selling. We've all seen the slice and dice of
Slice and
Vegemite.
dice.
I think I've seen the other one, the slapathon guy, and he's slicing everything. Totally different. You've got to understand where you're at. And then what's that video going to do, John? I mean, you've got your three phases there. Are you in the pre-selling phase?
Exactly.
Are you trying to attract customers in? And then which videos are you now taking that can actually present your product and answer objections, because that's what all your videos can do. And then which videos are you doing for the after sale, to keep in touch with people, get referrals coming in. You've got to understand business.
Yes.
And so our business club is all about all these things combined, and then show you how to incorporate it into your videos. And no, you don't need expensive equipment. And that's another one that gets me. I've got a 4K camera. I don't care. I'm sorry, but if it's social media, we use 4K cameras. Wow, because that's what we do. You don't need to. The phones are fantastic these days.
And the only thing is, when you have a phone, is just go and get one of those microphones that plug into your phone, and the sound quality is amazing.
Absolutely. And look, you can get them off, well, I got some for a client off a website called Geek, Geek. I think they cost $8 posted out. He got a couple of, oh, and he got one of those splitters, Gerard.
Yes, that you have two people. Yep.
And I think the splitter was $5.
Yep.
Like, you don't need expensive equipment to sell on social media and promote your business. That's absolute crocker. That's just an absolute load of rubbish. So anyone's telling you that, you know, I wouldn't be looking at them. So our club is going to show you all of this, all business strategies. So we're going to build your business up, and we want to get up to those $1 million businesses, obviously, and show you how to incorporate all those business knowledges into video production to help you grow your business faster than anywhere before. Someone asked me the other day about video, and I said, well, 20 years ago, they would have said, don't worry about computers. Electric typewriters are just as good. They got autocorrect. Oh, I tell you, there's a song, Gerard, that reminds me. It's called Video Killed the Radio Star. I tell you, you make your videos right and you'll kill your competition.
Yeah.
That's my message for the week.
Well, we know that video is, if you go on YouTube, you Google anything you want to do and get a video.
Yep.
So you have to stand out, and we'll show you how to do that.
Absolutely. I'll put the link below. We're going to do a couple of introductory sessions to that, and we'll use that booking form, Eventbrite.
Yep.
You can just log on, come and join us for free. We'll have a good old chat about everything and see if it's right for you, and then if it is, then you can join the club. And look, once again, thank you so much for everyone's support. It's absolutely unbelievable. Next week, we should have Mr. John Hughes. If you're in Perth, you'll know him. He's going to be joining us. Become a regular on the show as well, so we've grown. And it's thanks to your support that we're starting to attract those caliber and those quality of people who actually want to be and share their business knowledge with you.
And at the end of the day, you can listen to the show, but if you don't take these small little gold nuggets and don't implement in your business, nothing is going to change.
Because that's the one moving part, is implementation. And the people who implement usually have a support mechanism behind them.
Yeah.
And that's why we've done the club. Oh, by the way, it's $97 a month. So it's not $900, not $1,000, not anything silly. It's just something that can support people and cover our production costs and so forth. Hope you enjoy it. Until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.